Hello and welcome back to Alaska Rural Homestead. My name is Mark and we are working with garlic scapes. My wife cut these earlier today and now we're going to process them. So a little bit about these scapes. They only come from hardneck garlic. They shoot out. It's a way for the plant to go to seed, but if you catch them before they flower out in seed, they make this white, nice, wonderful stem that is full of garlic flavor. They can be used in soups, salads, they can be dehydrated, they can be freeze dried, and you can even do stuff like make your own garlic salt out of them. So we're going to go ahead and process these all up, and then we're going to freeze dry them, and we'll show you how that's done. But first off, I want to give a real big shout out to all the shed warriors. This is something that we try to do amongst our little shed war community here, and that's grow different things. And the nice thing about these hardneck garlic is these scapes, and what I mean by that is you get something for nothing, so to speak. So when you plant your garlic, these hardnecks, they grow and then they send these sprouts up to seed, but you go ahead and cut them off before they seed and you get an extra harvest. So this will add up in the long run. So we'll go ahead and get these cut up like I said and processed out, and then we're going to weigh them out too just to see how much we got and go from there. So stay tuned here and we'll get it done. So I'm not a chef obviously, and so I just cut these as quick and as easy as I can. The little buds here are also good to eat, so make sure you dry those also. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting these down to a manageable size, anywhere between a ½ inch and an inch. If you decide that you want to use this for garlic salt, freeze drying or dehydration is the best, and I recommend the freeze dry. And then once you go ahead and get them processed that way, you just throw them in a food processor and you grind them to powder or small chunks, and then add your favorite type of salt, whether it be sea salt or regular iodized salt, and you're making your own garlic salt. If you're going to use these in soups or salads, you could use the same size here without having to cut them down once they come out of your dehydrator or your freeze dryer. You can even use these raw or cooked before you ever freeze dry them. Really tasty, and they have a nice garlic flavor, which is really nice. Okay, so that's the last of the scapes. Let me get them in the bowl real quick here. I've already went ahead and got the scale out. Oops. I guess that one's going to the piggy. Oh well. Anyway, so as you can see, we zeroed out the scale. Let's put this in. Now, a nice thing about growing your own, no pesticides. You know exactly what you get in it. So you know that you've got a non-GMO product if that's what you're into, but the main thing is no pesticides, so that's good, and no herbicides. So we have right out a pound. That's pretty good harvest for scapes. So we'll go ahead and pour this back into here. We also harvested some basil. Okay, so we have our bag of basil here that we're going to weigh also. Smells awesome. This is Thai basil. So by using a freeze dryer to freeze dry this, it preserves the nutrients and the flavor. Basil tends to be really hard to preserve unless you use something like that. If you basically dehydrate it, you kind of lose some of the flavor, but when you freeze dry it, it does it so quick it's pretty good. So let's see how much we've got for weight here. And we got just 3/4 of a pound there. So 1 3/4 pounds so far. Whoops. For our harvest, I'll go ahead and put the trays out. We'll get them spread out, and then we'll get them into our freeze dryer, and we'll show you how to do that.
We just pulled the basil and the garlic scapes out of the freeze dryer. They've been in there for 24 hours and they're already completely dry. Our scapes, our garlic scapes are dry. Now we could use them just like this, or we could make garlic powder. But what I love about my freeze dryer is it does not use heat. It doesn't take any of the nutrients or anything out of your food. It just takes the moisture. So these garlic scapes will be super great in casseroles and soups and whatnot. And the basil, I love the basil because it keeps its color. So I can use it for dips and casseroles or whatever on the Homestead. But it retains a lot of its color, which I really love. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting the herbs in the jars here. And then I will mark the lids here with the date. And I always keep my oxygen absorbers, which I will go ahead and put one in each jar. I like to keep them in a sealed jar. That way they stay really fresh. And I'll just seal that up until I'm ready to get the next one. What I love about the basil is it retains so much of its scent, and you know, it smells amazing, just like when I picked it. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but I have these little liners on here, which really come in handy when you go to freeze dry stuff. Things don't stick to the pan. And you can pick them up just like that and get the majority of the herbs. So I just have this little tool. I forget what it's used for, but I've had it for a very long time and it comes handy in the kitchen. And I just kind of push these herbs down in this jar. And the other great thing about this freeze dryer is when you go to dry your herbs, you know, unlike herbs that you would buy in the supermarket, you have to use a little bit more to get more flavor. But these really don't have to use much to get a lot of flavor because all the flavor is still there. So I went ahead and dated it. And you know, this is really super easy to pack meals if we go camping or anything like that, because we just grab a bunch of our freeze-dried foods that we have and use them that way. Now these oxygen absorbers I get from Amazon just because I can't find them in Alaska here. There are some things that you just can't find in Alaska. And prices are going up and up and up. So this is just one more reason for us to grow our own food. Now, when I bought my freeze dryer several years ago, I was really skeptical on having that big initial investment, but I am so glad I did, because it is so worth it. We can preserve more healthier foods, and you know, we can preserve all our food here on the homestead, whether it be meat, vegetables, fruit. Okay, so there we have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell when we have new videos coming out, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.